going to show you how I tackle quilt binding. We're actually only going to bind a tiny little journal-sized piece, the size of an A4 sheet of paper, but it's the exact same process if you were doing a bigger quilt. It's up to you whether you cut your 2¼ inch strips with a 45-degree angle or whether you cut them straight. If you cut them straight, this is the sort of join you'll get, and if you cut them at an angle, that's the sort of join you'll get. I quite like multicoloured bindings, they're quite good fun, especially if you've used offcuts from the project. So I've already joined these and I've ironed them in half, so that is going to make my binding. So this is my little project. I'll pick up the binding. I want it to have a straight edge actually, so I'm just going to cut that off with these little scissors. Okay, so here's my project. This is the correct side with the lovely multicoloured thread. It's just an offcut of some quilting practice that I was doing. This is the wrong side, which happens to have grey thread. I'm actually going to sew the binding onto the wrong side, the reverse. So there's the edge of my binding, which I'm going to put onto the very edge of the quilt. I could pin it, or I'm just going to attach one of these little clips. I'm going to slide it over on my flat table. Just hold that tail. This machine will the foot will go down when I press the pedal, but on most machines you may have to actually physically put the foot down. So I'm going to press the pedal, off we go. Now it's not very far to the bottom corner here, so I'll just straighten that out. Now I'm going to stop 1/4 inch from the end. I'm eyeballing it. If you are not confident with eyeballing it, you can use a little measuring gauge like that, or put a dot with a pen on. I'm just going to creep to where I think 1/4 inch is. Then take a couple of backwards stitches. Whoops. Now the very handy thing about this machine is it's got a built-in electronic scissor cutter, so I'm going to press that. Normally I'd have to pick the foot up, pick the needle up and use my scissors, but here we go. Nice bit of chuntering there. Now I'm just going to pull it away from the foot slightly so that I can bend this piece back at a 45-degree angle like that. And press it down flat, so there's the 45. Then double it back onto itself. Now it sounds complicated and you do need several extra fingers that you haven't got, but there we are. There's the fold, and the fold is right on the edge like that. Now don't let go. In fact, that might be a good job for the tailor's awl. Spin it back round onto the machine. Might just have to put my finger on this thread to grab it. Eyeballing again 1/4 inch in from the edge of the quilt, like that. Okay, that looks okay, and so I'm just going to whiz to the next corner. Make sure it's not twisted. As I get to the corner, I'm going to slow down, kind of roughly guess where that 1/4 inch is. Some of the feet have markings on them, so that makes it easier. Backwards a couple of stitches, and scissor button. Pull it away. There we go. 45 degrees. Press. Double back. Ooh, a little bit folded up and weird. There we go. Get the awl to hold it. Shove it back there. Eyeball the 1/4 inch. Right there. Okay. So we will zoom down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm coming back round my final side and I've done about 1 inch and a bit, so I'm just going to stop and cut. Bring the little quilt over This is quite awkward because it's such a small piece, but on a bigger quilt it'll be far easier to figure out. Now you can see that the underneath piece is pink and the top piece is purple. When I originally cut the binding strips, they were 2.5 inches wide. So I'm going to get a ruler and measure 2.25 inches of purple overlapping the pink. So I'll get a pen, and I think the 2.25 is around about there or so. So just make a little mark. Cut it with scissors straight across, like this. Now open out the bottom piece, and hopefully, if you need to get a pin or a clip to get the quilt out of your way, you can just do that. I've got another little handy ruler here, which has got a 45-degree kind of angle, and if I've got enough space I should be able to draw a line. Now you can do it with pencil, but I like to do it in pen because it does show up a lot more. There we go. 45-degree pen line, like that. Okay, now this is the nifty thing. I'm going to hold that open, like that, in that hand. And I'm going to grab the top one, open it, and they're actually going to join so that each strip is at a right angle to the other one. Now here we go, it's all a bit clumsy in the middle, so I'm going to get one of these clips and just clip this quilt under control so it's not flopping about. Now I am going to be sewing absolutely on this pen line, so I'll probably grab a bridge here because it's like doing some piecing. So off we go. I'm trying not to let everything slither off in the wrong direction. On the pen. Okay, you can see it all rucking up. So a pin might be a good idea, but if not, I'll just get the tailor's awl to do a bit of holding. Really, I want that line onto that corner. Off onto another bridge. On my little bag here, I have a whole pile of them. Okay, now I'm going to snip those thread tails, and hopefully if I had them at a right angle, when I let them go, just like magic, they make a straight bit that's quite clever. So that works. So now that I've checked that that works, I'm going to get some scissors and cut off this unnecessary triangular corner. I'm going to cut 1/4 inch away from that line, like this, just like that. Those are rubbish. Now, get my thumb in there, I hope, open it out, and rather than doing any ironing, I'm just going to press that with my thumbs. Okay. And there we go. That looks flat-ish. Flat enough anyway. So I need to get rid of this bridge again. That was only for joining the tails. Take it out of the way. And just a few stitches back from where I finished, I shall continue down, keeping the edge of the binding in line with the edge of the quilt. Keep going. Get these bits of fluff out of the way. There we go. And I'm just going to go a few stitches over where I started originally. Okay, so it's all now completely attached to the back, which is good news. Right, now here's the thing. I'm going to just bend this round, and I'm bringing it round onto the front. Okay. Now, I am not very fussy about seeing a line of stitching on the back. If it was a show quilt, then yes, I might be a bit more discerning. But for everyday projects, I will just simply sew a line very, very close to the edge, which is what we're going to do next. I am going to just keep this foot on for now. Now, quite often, if it is a fancier quilt, I might do this with invisible thread, but we're just going to do it with this bright neon pink, and I'm going as close to the edge as I dare, right round like that. Now again, I'm not pinning or clipping. I could, but my fingers are doing all the work. Just holding it. I'm absolutely within a hair's breadth of that edge. Now, and tails are all a bit annoying, so I'm just going to give them a quick trim. Right, what's going to happen here is that I'm going to get this next edge ready and fold it up like that. And if I get the awl in there, hoping if I give it a squish in that corner, it just forms this fantastic little 45-degree angle all by itself. And that one's not bad. There's a join there, so I might have to get the awl to persuade it to go over the join. Now, it's creeping down towards the join. Stopping with the needle down, that's a handy thing. Foot up, either manually or by pressing a button. And round the corner. Right. Now I skipped a bit of that corner, but it doesn't matter because you'll see how I'm going to hide all these little missed bits. So off I whiz to the next corner. Sometimes, because I'm so close to the edge, I actually fail to catch areas, but you'll see how we get over that. Right, the next edge is getting folded in like that. Poking the awl in there will give us this little 45-degree fold, and I must make sure that I get over those underneath stitches. There's those grey stitches, you can see them, so just ease it over a bit more. Some of the corners go together better than others, but that's okay. And the awl is the one, the thing that's doing all the steering and pressing and holding in place. I don't want to run it over, so just be careful. So here it comes, right into the corner, lift the foot, round we go, and whizzing down here. You can see how close the stitching is to the edge. And there we are, we've met the original stitching. Now that's, you know, respectable enough, but sometimes I've got little bits that I've missed, or I've got things that I'm not that happy with. So what I do is I remember that I've got my 1/4 inch foot on, because if I don't remember that, I'm going to break something. I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to put the conventional foot back on, which is over here. Here we go. This one's quite an open foot because I want to add a decorative stitch now. Alright, so we've still got the bright pink thread in because that's quite nice. This machine allows me to choose a fancy stitch, so I'm just going to go into one of these menus and pick something out that I quite like this star. I like that one. Because what it's going to do, the middle part of the stitch is going to follow the middle, the straight stitch, and the stars are just going to hold everything in place. So I'm watching the needle. Okay, right, I'm just going to start somewhere. Start slowly first of all, and then when I get the hang of it, I'm just going to watch that needle and keep the needle in line with the edge of the binding. Now, I'm not doing a lot of holding onto this project now, it's just all fingertip control. If you feel that it's going out of control, then you simply stop. Okay, so we're just going to go as fast as we dare, or as slowly as we like, all the way round with this bright pink star. I quite often do this on bindings. Some of the embroidery stitches take forever. This one's relatively quick, and it just looks fun. So all the way round. Now, as we get towards this bottom corner, I might have to slow down because I want the needle to stop right in that corner before I turn. So it looks like I get one more star, and there it is, it's right in the corner. So I'll lift the foot up and I'll turn it round. Now if you're lucky, you'll get a star right in the corner. If you're not, then you might want to put a bead or something in there. Depends how fussy you are. So just keep going to the next corner. Here we are now, coming down the very last little stretch. And with any luck, we will get the final star to meet the first star fairly neatly. Overlap it reasonably well. I think I'll just stop it there, and I'll cut it. And it does overlap, but it's kind of perfectly respectable. As I say, if you're doing a show quilt, you'll be doing a much better job. But for a utility quilt, I think that looks okay.